To go live. We
No
are
problem.
live.
All
Awesome.
right.
Welcome back to my channel. Have a special guest, Bill Marion, here today. This is my first ever live stream. Speaking with my good friend Bill. He has an amazing YouTube channel. Bill, just to level set a little bit, got a lot of people in my community that either are trying to get to 1,000, maybe they hit 1,000 recently, trying to build watch hours. You've got about 11,000, give or take. You've been doing this for a few years. Oh, hi, Moose. Welcome to the live chat. Appreciate your support today.
Moose. What's up, Moose?
Just wanted to ask you some questions. Hopefully, we'll have a few folks join. If not, certainly they'll be watching it back later. So we need to always, say thanks to those folks as well. So how'd you grow a YouTube channel from nothing? And also tell us about your channel. What's it all about?
Our channel are for people that really don't have a real high IQ. No, I'm kidding.
That's why I enjoy it so much.
First of all, I want to say thank you. Thank you for asking me to do this. I'm very grateful. It's an honor. And the truth is there are a lot more deserving people that could tell you all about how to grow a YouTube channel. I guess the better way to say it is how to grow a YouTube channel when you're very limited on talent and ability, which is where I'm at, currently. The truth of the matter is that one of the main things we've done is we've been consistent. We've paid attention, and we've been willing to learn and willing to grow. We keep up with what people are wanting to see and trying to weigh that out with what we want to do, and not trying to force the algorithm into accepting us, of understanding there's certain things that you do, certain videos that you make, not because you necessarily want to make them, but to appeal so that people will watch the stuff that you do enjoy making. But the main thing has been consistency and paying attention to the trends and getting, I would say one of the main things especially is getting better at what you do. Like, I'll give you an example. Picasso, before he was Picasso, the kind of crazy painter painting weird stuff, Picasso knew how to paint. He painted like everybody else. He learned how to paint like everybody else, and he became really good at it before he ever started doing his Picasso thing, And so one of the things that we've done is we've learned how to edit. We've learned how to tell a story, and then refocus on being silly and zany and doing our crazy stuff and our shtick that we do,
Hey, we got Lang Gang Catabang on from Hong Kong. I've got a lot of overseas viewers, a lot of U.S. viewers too. Also have Lower Michigan hiking.
All right, Michigan.
He's he hikes in the Lower Michigan area. I've watched a bunch of his videos. But you got a lot of overseas folks as well, and a lot of us are content creators. I think some people call them YouTubers. I like content creators. It sounds a little bit fancier. But really appreciate you joining us today. And tell us a little bit about your channel before we kind of jump into some nuts and bolts on how to grow on YouTube.
When we used to start our channel, or we would describe it, I would say we make a variety of content. I still say that sometimes because we were all over the place. But that was actually a branding mistake on my part. What we really are is a travel nature channel. We're an outdoors channel, but we're also a zany channel that wants to invite people in and tell the story. And I'll talk a bit about this probably later, but we want to tell the story about the people and the places that we visit all over the U.S. and sometimes all over the world. But in a lot of cases, most cases, we're in the Appalachian Mountains, we're in the Rocky Mountains, and we want to tell the story about the people and the places where we're visiting. That's what we're all about.
Awesome, man. Let's see. Hope you can flex my small house. I hope we can too. Yeah, for sure. Thanks for joining us again. So, Bill, neither you and I are in the how to grow on YouTube space. We're both outdoors guys, and both of our channels are centered around the outdoors. But you have an experience that I don't have, and you have an experience that a lot of my viewers don't have. So that's why I really wanted to talk about this today. We both have jobs. We both have families and responsibilities. We both have limited resources. Neither one of us are in high dollar studios right now. So
no,
I thought this would be a good subject. Hopefully folks will be very interested in it. Let's talk about trends. So you've been doing YouTube for 4 years, give or take?
Five, almost going. We'll be on our 6th year here in just a month or so.
Okay.
Crazy, but yeah, sure.
So in that time, I'm sure some things have changed. Have you seen some trends? What do you kind of see as the next big thing for 2022 if you have your crystal ball handy?
Sure. Actually, we have to give a lot of thought to this because when you're planning out for the next year, you're thinking about, okay, what's going on? It's definitely harder now than it was when we started to get a channel up and going, and which is why it's so important to get help. It's so important to do what we're doing right now, is talk about it, because as you're growing as a content creator, you're teaching me stuff from your perspective that's helping me, and vice versa.
Right.
And so the interaction between content creators is huge. And I wish I had known that when I started my channel. I didn't want to bother anybody. You know, I didn't want to reach out and say, hey, will you help me? And people are more than willing to talk about what they love doing. I think it's great that we have this platform. YouTube is amazing. They have their work cut out for them because we live in kind of crazy times right now. Very, well, come on. We know that it's a difficult time right now as far as a lot of division, a lot of controversy. And so YouTube's got their work cut out for them. And so when you're trying to carve out a piece of real estate for your content, you're having to navigate through all the different changes. It was hard for us 5 years ago. It's definitely harder now. It was a lot easier 10 years ago. If you watch John and Hank Green and their channel that's been out since almost YouTube began, they kind of created YouTube in so many ways. You know, they didn't actually create YouTube, but as far as people being drawn to a community and actually associating themselves with John and Hank's brand, you know, they've been there since the beginning, and trying to look back in time and saying, okay, how can we create our space the way John and Hank Green or Philip DeFranco and some of the other pioneers of YouTube, how can we create that same space? I don't think that's possible now the same way it was for them. Things have changed a great deal, but that doesn't mean it's over. I think that you can carve out a piece of real estate, but you have to realize that you're going to have to put in a lot of work, and it's not going to come natural. Even if you have a natural ability for editing videos and you're just great on camera, that doesn't mean that you're going to have just an easy time carving out a space. You've got to connect. You've got to learn how to do things that really have nothing to do with being in front of a camera or using a camera. It has to do with a lot of behind the scenes stuff that you and I talk about a lot.
Yeah. I mean, I agree it's not easy, but I also don't think it's too late. No. Would you agree with that?
I don't think it's too late. It's definitely not too late. What I would say to anybody, though, if they're thinking about it, get cracking, get to it. Don't wait until you've got it all figured out, because you're never going to have it all figured out. And why? Because it changes. It changes all the time. Get your camera, your phone, whatever you're using, and start making content. Use that free software on your computer. You know, if you don't already have a channel that you are able to comment on other channels, set up an actual channel to where if you're commenting in here now, by the way, I'm originally from Michigan, Lower Michigan hiking. Whoop, whoop. Go Big Blue. Big Blue going to the playoffs this year. Sorry, I had to say it. Go Big Blue. Anyway, if you are, if you're wanting to make content, don't wait until you've got it figured out. I have a friend of mine from high school, Toby, that he was always going to do something. You know what I'm saying? He was always about to start a music studio. He was always about to, but he never did. And it's like 20 something years later.
Oh no.
He's my age, and I love him. I haven't talked to him in over a decade, but he never did any of those things that he was talking about. And what I would tell anybody is stop talking and get to doing. Yeah. Don't worry if it's too late, because here's what I do know. Other platforms are starting to make headway. So even if it doesn't work out on YouTube, there are other opportunities out there. So get started on learning how to make content, learning how to tell a story using a platform like this.
Awesome. Lower Michigan agrees. Go Big Blue. So there you go. Thank you for the compliment. We're having a lot of fun. Let's talk about for a few minutes some of the tools that are out there. When I first started YouTube, you said, get TubeBuddy. You're welcome. Mm-hmm. That was your exact terms.
I remember
the things, vidIQ. By the way, if somebody wants TubeBuddy, I will have a link in the description for the replay, so you can click on that and find out more. But what do you think about those tools, and is search engine optimization even important anymore? Just your thoughts.
If I'm starting a channel and I'm serious about it, let's say I've made a few videos and I love it. I call it the YouTube bug. You really want your videos to grow. You want your channel to grow. Then I want to be with people who've been in the game for a long time. And that's why I picked a TubeBuddy. Now, I don't have an affiliate link, but Toby does, which is why if you're thinking about starting a YouTube channel, you need to go ahead and click the link right now. Just go ahead and click it and begin that process. It doesn't cost that much money to learn as much as you can about the platform. I mean, it's pennies. It's a cup of coffee or two at Starbucks a month, if that. So it's worth your investment on growing your channel. They've taught me a great deal. There are some things that I'm like, I know TubeBuddy says to do it this way, but I want to do it this way. But at least knowing that there is a foundation there, and of course, all of the tools that they offer. The keyword search I use on every single video. Yep. Every video, I use the keyword search and the SEO. I use all of those tools, and they've helped me they've helped build a better YouTube channel. I wish I had known about I wish I had known about TubeBuddy when I started the channel back in 2016 or whatever. I would have been a lot better off had I started off. I know that there are other places that you can get some wonderful, advice, but for me, TubeBuddy has been the most consistent. I'm not as familiar with some of the other ones because TubeBuddy's been great. Another one for me for sharing, I like making creative videos. I love music. I would love to write my own. I don't have time to get into, art, my little homemade studio and do my music all the time. Some of our music on my videos it's my music, but most of it is either from YouTube. But if you're like me, you get bored with YouTube canned music. So I use Audio Hero. Audio Hero has been amazing. They got a wide variety. I forget how many tens of thousands of stuff that they have. They have effects and the whole 9 yards. And if you get if somebody claims a video and you're using their music, they will see to it that the claim is removed in a timely manner and that much. Last year, it's an issue with the YouTube learning algorithm where some videos will get claimed for music that's doesn't belong to anyone. It's yours, and so, and it's really annoying. And I want to say 20% of my videos were claimed last year, but it was seriously, yeah. But Audio Hero stepped up to bat every time and they took care of it. So, for information about growing your channel, they even do on TubeBuddy, they even do this thing where they'll evaluate your channel. That's extra money, but still, man, if you were really hungry to be a full-time YouTuber, which isn't my calling, I love making videos. But if you wanted to be a full-time YouTuber, man, you've got all these options with TubeBuddy, and it's great. So to grow your channel, I definitely recommend TubeBuddy. And for extra music, Audio Hero is a great place. And I don't mean just extra. You could probably just live in Audio Hero. It's funny stuff, too.
Yeah. I started out with the free tier of TubeBuddy, but the search engine optimization piece as well as the keyword search, to me, that was worth just a few bucks that I paid over and above that. So it's a good tool. So just staying here and Lower Michigan says he's got TubeBuddy. The keyword research is very important, and tags and title. Absolutely. Let's jump off of tools for a few minutes, and we'll talk about maybe some equipment stuff in a little while. But I'm really interested in what Bill does about planning, filming, editing. What does a typical Bill Marion and Nose for Life episode look like from thought all the way to production and uploading to YouTube and going live?
There's what we do, and then there's what we want to do. It's two different things. And it's unfortunate, but I'd rather just be honest and just authentic as I can be with you and just and with your viewers, just to tell them the truth is that in 2022, one of our main goals is to stick to the plan. And one of the reasons why we don't stick to our plan a lot is because, well, it's like something, they talk about in the Army is the first thing that happens when you go to execute a plan is the plan just falls apart. And I could give one example after another from Washington, D.C., making videos there, making videos in West Virginia, where you get there and nothing is what you expected when you got there. But here's what I will say that would kind of summarize what we try to do is we try to tell a story in every video. And a story has three parts. It has a beginning, it has a middle, and it has an end. And in the beginning, you're introducing your characters. That's what your intro is all about. Hey, my name is Bill Marion, and this is A Nose for Life. That's your intro. And if Carolyn's in the video, I'm going to have her up front, even if it's just a little blurb, image where she's waving or something. I'm going to introduce the characters and kind of introduce where we're at, what we're doing, the setting. And then the second phase, we're going to introduce the conflict. Right? That's what a story is. You've got the beginning, the intro, but then you have the conflict in every adventure that you go on, regardless. If you're a cooking channel, Billy at Strong's Adventure, wonderful cooking channel, but it's not really a cooking channel. That's a whole different story. But Strong's Adventures over there, a cooking channel is a great way to introduce a conflict. What do you do if this happens? What do you do if that happens? And so every channel can introduce a conflict, regardless of the topic. And so we're going to do better at that aspect in 2022. But you want to introduce a conflict. What happened? Did the truck mess up? Is the road bad? Whatever. But something that causes a problem. And then, of course, in the last act, you're resolving the problem. By the way, the person who pointed this out, and I've got to add this, Toby, the person who really enlightened me to make sure that all of my videos had those components, Casey Neistat.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I've got to mention Casey Neistat. Even I don't know this guy from Adam. I'm sure we disagree on a lot of things in life, but he's one of the greatest filmmakers of our generation. He's younger than me. He's like 10 years younger than I am, but he's one of the greatest filmmakers of our generation. And instead of going the Hollywood route, even though he hangs out in that crowd still to this day, he hangs out in this kind of platform, which is just amazing. And he is, if you watch his videos, and I'm not saying you're going to like it as far as the taste, and again, I'm not going to agree with everything Casey believes in and all that stuff, but the way they are made, it's fascinating. And he's the one that talked about having a 3-act video. And I was like, the bell went off in my head, because when I'm a writer. And so when writing, you know to do that. So when you're making videos, it's the exact same way. You want to have those 3 parts.
Jim Hayes is with us. He has a great hiking channel. I don't know if you've had a chance to catch any of his material or not. But
I believe I have.
I am just having fun and making memories. You absolutely do. And you know what I like about Jim's material? And, of course, I love outdoors and hiking, anything that's related, but there's all different spectrums. He makes it very personable. You get to know Jim. It's about Jim. Yes, he's in this beautiful scenery and there's different things going on, but he really opens up and lets you know who he is. And I know that's something you've mentioned to me, Bill, is let people in and let people know me. You mentioned Carolyn. Whenever she's in your shot, it's like viewership goes way up.
It goes way up.
Than you are. There's that, but people like to know Bill. People like to know Jim. People like to know Toby and all the rest of them that are on the chat. So
when my kids
are really trying to work toward.
When my kids are on there, when my wife's on there, our viewers go up, the watch time increases, because what it amounts to is the reason why YouTube has exploded is because content creators are more accessible. They're more accessible than people on television or people traditionally in Hollywood. Now, that can create problems too, but that's for a different live, right? Toby, that's for some other time. We have only just now started reaching the level of popularity or whatever, where we can run into it. We can go into a restaurant and somebody can come up to us now and say, hey, do you have a YouTube channel? I mean, we're just now even close to that, especially if we're in this area, like on 81 or 40 in Tennessee. That's possible because we've made so many videos in this part of Appalachia. So we're just now there, but there is an issue with being too accessible, but we're not really there yet. Yeah. But I will say this, being authentic, being yourself, is what Jim was talking about there, just having fun. One of the reasons I started the channel had nothing to do with being a video content creator. I needed storage space for home videos. That's serious. Because I loved making these videos of my kids, and Carolyn remembers that. I made this awesome Disney video that's like an hour long, and it's just our kids. You know, and I was like, where am I going to put this? And so I put it on YouTube, and then it dawned on me it hit me. That was easy. I mean, it was a lot of work, but as far as the uploading process and how that works, I thought, why not give this a try? So I think it's a great place to just have fun and make memories. I think YouTube is a great forum to let people in on your little neck of the world and say, hey, this is what I do. And there's a way to make a passive income while doing that. Absolutely.
I do want to remind anybody who is in the live chat, feel free to put a question in there. For those who have joined us a little later, this is Bill Marion. He's got a great YouTube channel. He's grown from nothing to almost 11,000 subscribers. So for somebody who has, the size channel I do, I really look up to Bill and really want to learn from him. So feel free to drop questions in there, and we'll be happy to let Bill answer those also. While people are thinking about their questions, but I want to switch gears here for a minute and kind of get some observation from you. Last February, I completely changed my channel, the name, the format, everything. First of all, what did you observe about that? And then I have a couple of follow-up questions. I want to really hear, what's Bill's thoughts about the old format versus the new, what's going well, what are some things I could do better, maybe what's next?
I think the only issue that you really had, which I liked your old content too, with Moose. He's a great guy, wonderful person. But what happened there is there was a branding issue. And that happens on our channel sometimes too, where the channel is growing viewers one way, but there's a shift a different direction. And so at some point you've got to make a decision. It's got to be this or it's got to be this. What we've learned is that I can get viewers to our channel by making top 10 videos. I mean, that was what put us on the map. That's what gave us a piece of real estate. Top 10 facts about Arizona. Top 10 facts.
That was a huge video, 700,000 views or something. Yeah.
Yeah, it's made quite a bit of money. I mean, it paid for Christmas a couple of years ago. I mean, it did a great. I mean, it was a great video as far as, but it wasn't on brand. And so there for a while, I started making facts videos, and they all went huge. But I was miserable because it's not what I wanted to do. It's kind of like Jim was talking about. I want to make videos that are fun for me. But occasionally you do have to make a video for the algorithm. The problem is this, is you look at those big videos and you look at a subscriber count and a decent watch time, but then you look at what are your average videos getting in views and what are your average videos getting in viewers? And that's where you have to kind of, it's a juggling act. And so in your case, when you kind of went a different direction with the channel, there was going to be a lull where people were having to get used to what the Kilted Adventurer was. Right. But I think you've done a great job in staying consistent with that branding. You know, you've got a brand, you've got a niche, and I think you've got, I've told you this in private, but I'm going to say this in public. I'm convinced that by the end of 2022, you'll have the 1,000 subscribers or whatever it is now, whatever the watch time. I think you already have the watch time, right?
Yeah, it's slow, but some of my stuff's shorter, so that's kind of hurt me too.
Well, I mean, either way, but you're gonna get there. There's no doubt, because I think your branding is firm. You know what you are, you know what the channel is, and that's what you're going with. That's what you love. And at the time when we started, I was figuring it out from one video to the next. I had no idea, but I still like the way I started. And I still tell other people to start that way until, just keep making videos, because the process of making a video is very important, getting better. And I would say, you were asking me what to improve on. I wouldn't just say this to you. I say this to anybody, including myself. Get better at editing, get better at telling that story we talked about at the beginning. What is keeping your viewer watching longer? One of the things I'm proud of is our average watch time across a year. At some point, I forget what the average is across YouTube, but I think it was last year, we were like a minute and a half over the average of YouTube. Oh, wow. And so that was something we were really proud of, is that we'd come so far in our editing. People, they don't really care if it's really polished or not, but they don't want to get bored. And that's what I've learned. The lulls in the action. They don't want to get bored. They want to know what they're looking at, and they want something snappy. And I got to be honest with you, listen to your teenage kids, listen to your young kids. My son, Nathan, Crystal, Anna, they have helped me more understand what people will watch, even people my age. I'm 47 years old. I'm almost 50, short, fat, and bald. So, I've got a pretty big hill to climb as it is. But I asked them, I'm like, okay, what can I do? And my son said this a few years ago. He's like, first of all, Dad, don't ever have anything on the screen unless you're doing a live stream, and they weren't as popular as they are now. But he said, unless you're doing a live stream, 3 to 4 seconds and change scenes, 3 to 4 seconds, change scenes, snappy dialogue. And that is important. What that means is your camera needs to be shooting. If you're walking and talking with somebody else on, let's say, a hiking adventure like you do, or in our case, where we're up in the Blue Ridge Parkway, or somewhere in the Shenandoah Valley, or over in the Alleghenies in West Virginia, if I'm talking too much, then that means I'm not videoing. And if I'm not videoing, that means I don't have enough footage to make a good video. And so wherever I go, whatever I'm doing, whether I'm there to make a video or not, I'm thinking all the time, what can I capture here to insert into a video to tell a story constantly? Because there's a story everywhere, and that's what you're trying to find, is what the story is.
I've noticed consistency, and this is something you told me early on, is just be consistent, but that leads to improvement. I go back and look at the stuff from really 10, 11 months ago, and it's bad. Like, I cringe to watch it, and I hope 10 months from now I look at today's content and be like, wow, that's not really that great.
Right.
It's a growth process. Welcome, mid-age runner. Awesome. The 3 second attention span. Yes, that is. That's a thing. He's got a great channel. He also rebranded, by the way, a while back, and I relate to that channel a lot because in addition to hiking, I run. I stopped making running videos because I just wasn't good at it. But I respect anybody that's over 40 or what did you say, Bill? 47, short, fat. I love you. I think you're great. Yeah. But anybody that can, really focus on fitness at our age, I've got to be major props to. And Jim says, absolutely. At all of mine, LOL. Jim, yours are good. You've got over 1,000 subscribers. You've got a big audience of people who come back to every video. But I think we're always our own worst critic.
Absolutely.
But we should be growing. We should be learning. We should be improving. And to that point, Bill, I want to ask you about equipment. You know me, I'm pretty stubborn on some things. And I said from the beginning, which I've changed my mind on, is I'm going to make this a return on investment. I'm not buying equipment until this YouTube thing pays for it. And I just bought a GoPro 10, half price, Black Friday. But I'm really excited because I go back and look at videos and they can be better if I have better equipment.
Yeah.
So I did. What do you think about equipment? Like how fast you buy it? Do you make it pay for itself? What are your thoughts?
I'm going to tell you from my mistake, not from my success. I came at YouTube with the exact same thing, that what I'm going to do is, Bill, when YouTube starts paying me, that's when I'll get the equipment. But first of all, what I've learned about business is mainly from you, Toby. and I would give you the same advice than anybody in here. If I went to start a business somewhere, then, even the Bible says that, a builder counts the cost before he considers what he's going to build. Right. So you want to count the cost and say, okay, if I want to start the best business, then I need the equipment to start the best business. Yeah. And it is probably, in my opinion, wrong thinking to think that I'm going to wait until I see the profits before I invest. I just don't. I got to admit, that's how I started too. But I'm paying for it now. It'll get you partnered. Using your iPhone like Carol and I have done. You can get your 1,000 subscribers, your watch time. That can happen, and you can have a moment, what I call a YouTube moment. Carol and I have had several of those moments of success where you go, they love me, but it doesn't last. So you have to kind of get over those moments and realize, okay, I want to make good content. I want to make good quality content for people. Some people never get there. They don't want that. They're fine with just doing what they're doing. And I would say that my advice then isn't for them. But what happened with me is that you kind of level off, and then you realize you have reached what was the Peter principle, the first level of your incompetence or whatever. And I reached that level at where it just kind of planed off. And I said, you know what? I need to invest into what I'm believing here. Yep. And so I want to make better quality. So we are now in the process of investing into better equipment, but I wouldn't wait. But what I will say this is, let's say you're in a situation where you can't afford it or whatever, then what you do is in the process, use what you have while you're looking around.
Absolutely. Jim's 61. Yes, you are, Jim. One of my best hiking friends is also named Jim. I've talked about him on the channel before, and he's 68. So
wow.
60 is kind of the new 40 now. And I guess that's 50 miles yesterday. If you did, kudos to you. I don't know exactly what you're trying to communicate there. If you want to impress us, let us know. Even if it's 50 kilometers, that would be 31 miles. So either way, he's the man. Lower Michigan hiking, invest in yourself and believe in the process. Yep, yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yourself. One thing you said to me, Bill, along those lines, 50 hikes. Yeah, wow. Oh, before we talk about investing in yourself, I got to say hi to G and Nikki. They're in Ireland. They do a lot of live streams. I got the idea of StreamYard from them. They do game shows every Sunday night, so it's a lot of fun. They also hike around Ireland in castles and things, and they've lost a lot of weight, so they've really got a good community there. Hi, Logan Cooper, something about tech.
Yeah, that's
50th hike. Yep, you're doing probably that 52 hike challenge or something.
Wow.
I know a lot of people doing that this year, so that's very impressive. Let's talk about investing in yourself and in the creative process, kind of the lens through which you're looking at something. You shared with me something on a video that I put out from Fiery Gizzard last Friday. There was a scene where the sun was coming down. There was a beautiful creek. It was magical. It was like something from Avatar. And you said, what are the viewers thinking or feeling at that moment?
Yeah.
Never occurred to me. So let's talk a little bit more about the storytelling piece as it relates to how we can invest in ourselves and think about those things.
Well, we were talking earlier about the plan falling apart, and you plan. Carol and I plan to go to New River Gorge National Park. We wanted to showcase New River Gorge National Park because it's the newest national park in the national park family. So Carol and I, we geared up, we packed up, we got the picnic stuff going on. We're about 3 hours from New River Gorge here in Virginia. So you have to go over to West Virginia and way south. We get to Sandstone Falls. Sandstone Falls is a part of New River Gorge. It's a great place to visit, but not when we were there. It was cloudy, overcast, and fall had come early there, and then storms had come and knocked all the leaves off the trees. It was awful. You have to find a story because what you came to shoot and capture and talk about is not there. And so you go into this little bit of panic, and that became a part of our story. This is awful. What do we do now? You want to be nice about it because our slogan is to always tell the nicest things about an area. Never tell, if the people are terrible, don't talk about that. If the hotel accommodations are bad, which they often are, don't talk about that. Bring the best, bring positive things. I got to be honest. I hate to mention them again because I don't know them personally at all, but John and Hank Green, that's one of the things I love about their shtick is that they're always positive, and that kind of rubbed off on me. However, that doesn't take away the fact that you're having a miserable time. So what we try to capture, what Carol and I try to capture, these beautiful moments, but also what are we feeling together, and try to get that on film because we have a great time together. I'm pointing here, but you can't see it, but off camera, my wife is working just off camera, but we try to capture our feelings. In other words, we may be having the greatest time ever, just romantically together in the mountains somewhere. How do I get that to come across on the screen? And we talk about that. We think about those things. And in the case of Sandstone Falls, which any other time of year would have probably been great. But what we found is making another turn, following a road, pushing the envelope a little bit. We ended up in Burke's Garden. Burke's Garden is across the line in Virginia. It's the highest valley in the state of Virginia. It's a beautiful place. And boom, that was our story. You have a miserable time over here in West, not that I love West Virginia, but on this day, it just wasn't happening. So what do you do? And we found our way in Burke's Garden. And so that's easy. Those moments are easy to capture because I think your viewer picks up on your emotions and what you're feeling right then. I think so. Some of our worst videos, in my opinion, are when I forced videos because, but emotionally I wasn't there, or my blood sugar was low, or I was in a hurry, and you feel that in the video. I think you end up with a lot of fluff. You end up with too much voiceover, or just too much of something that doesn't convey the authenticity that you're trying to convey. I hope that
switch gears. G and Nikki had to go. They have their own live stream. They're some of my most faithful viewers. They'll watch back later. Jim is going to check out the Fiery Gizzard video. So thank you.
Video.
That's top 10 trail. It's almost magical. I love that trail. Very difficult though. Make sure you put your big boy boots on if you're going to do the whole thing. Let's switch gears, Bill, and talk about other social media. Hi, Baker. You know Baker. Nobody's working now. Yeah, watch the rest later, Baker. We very much appreciate you joining.
Love it. Love it.
I've heard different opinions, and I watch quite a bit of how to grow on YouTube type of videos from several of the experts, and they've got major large channels. Again, that's not our niche. We're just talking about it today because you've got some experience in this and I don't. I've heard grow one thing at a time, and I was also heard utilize your current tribe. So at what point do you start weaning off of Facebook or Instagram, or is there a place for those as you're trying to grow your YouTube channel? Or Twitter. I don't use Twitter, but I'll throw that one in the mix too.
Everybody wants to kind of preach their own philosophy on that. One of the things that I did well because of a situation that I was in, I didn't tell too many people about my YouTube channel that I knew. I didn't go around. I mean, you and I from the same area, we've known each other 20 years plus. And very few people at even the church that we go to, in Chattanooga, very few people knew I had a YouTube channel. Yeah. I didn't work it the way one would work a network marketing gig. I wanted it to grow on the platform and wanted it to be back then. Again, we're going back 5 or 6 years. You would get flooded when as soon as you signed up and started uploading videos, your email, your inbox would get flooded with, you can buy subscribers. Hey, if you'll subscribe to this, we'll expose you to more channels. I don't see that as much anymore, but don't do that.
No.
That is a disaster. And first of all, it's definitely anti terms of service. So you can get in trouble that way, but it is a bad idea. And thank God I didn't even consider it. I thought, no, I want to see what I got here. And so I didn't go that route, but it's probably, in my opinion, Facebook. First of all, you can't just post to Facebook. There's a reason why, because there's a count issue. technically, I'm sorry, Toby. I wish I could express. I wish I could express myself better to explain why it doesn't work as far as the count issue. You won't get accurate counts as to who watches your videos on Facebook. So you have to post the link in the comments. And from what I've understood, or what I understand, is that even now Facebook's worked around that as well.
They have.
So it's really a waste of time. I mean, you're basically giving that to Facebook at that point, and it's not their content. I have nothing against Facebook. I think a lot of people are making good content for Facebook. I'm just not a huge fan of that platform for my videos. There are other platforms that I would use, you know, as with YouTube, but that isn't one of them. That's just my opinion. I don't even think you should ever post to Facebook personally. I have a channel, or I have a Facebook page that I had at one time dedicated just for these videos, and every now and then I'll post something to there. But that Facebook, and I'm keeping it around that Facebook page. But the reality of it is grow on YouTube, grow on the platform that you've chosen.
That makes a lot of sense. I've shared with you recently, Bill, that I've sort of changed my mind on that. Some of my earlier videos that did really well, I'm talking hundreds of views in the first few days, I put on some big Facebook pages, specific like kilt type pages. I don't do as well in the outdoor and hiking pages. That's a pretty saturated space, but Kilts is a little more niche.
Sure.
Anyway, but YouTube doesn't know who's watching your videos because Facebook, I've learned, keeps everything inside their own browser. Right. So YouTube doesn't know who to recommend your videos to because it doesn't know who's watching.
Right. And then we also have these crazy low subscriber viewer counts. But before I say that, I've just got to jump in here to mid-aged runner who said, come on, Toby's not 20 yet because you look like you're 20. And again, you can't, you know, favor isn't fair, right? Favor isn't fair, but it is so much easier to start a YouTube channel when you look like Toby. Come on, somebody, help me.
Well, thank you both for the compliment, but you know that I've lost a considerable amount of weight and really focused on
amazing
the last 5 years. So maybe I'll talk about that sometime on YouTube. I've posted the before and after pictures recently on Instagram. If you follow
look great.
Hello, Gracie. She is from our area, Bill, Chattanooga. Hey. She puts pictures. She's a professional photographer, best I can tell. But tell you what, her pictures are great. She puts them on YouTube. She has a question, though. Does posting on Facebook groups help her? No. I've got an opinion, but Bill's the big channel. So jump in, Bill.
We do occasionally. We do. Like there's West Virginia groups, Appalachian Mountain groups, Appalachian Life groups, and you get permission from the administrator of those pages, which we do. Sometimes you can gain subscribers. And that's where I was kind of going with that, Toby, earlier, is to say that when you post on Facebook, even Facebook groups, regardless if you post in the comments or just post the link in a general post, what happens is that according to your analytics in YouTube, it'll say, here's your visitors. Here's where everybody's come from. And then under where you posted Facebook, instead of getting a breakdown, it'll make it look like your subscribers aren't coming back to your channel because it'll say browser feature, you know, say coming back through a browser. When that happens, it's telling Facebook that your subscribers aren't coming back again and again. Okay. And that's bad. That you don't want that.
You're not satisfied with that piece of content then, right?
And I'm sure Facebook, you have to understand, Facebook and YouTube are competitors.
Okay.
They are competitors. They have some agreements to work together on certain things, but the reality is that YouTube's not thrilled about its content being on Facebook. There are some YouTube creators that go as far as to make 2 separate videos. I don't understand all that, but we get surveys all the time. I don't know if Toby gets them. We get surveys all the time for YouTube and ask you, where all do you make content for? You know,
the ones I see are selling other things. They have other content, online coaching, fitness, books, product. They're less concerned about actually growing on YouTube. But yeah, I can't understand that either. Cowboy Jojo, let me talk about Joseph for a minute. He's in Australia. He and Peter and can't forget Ruby. That's the little dog. They put together some fantastic content. So anyone who is watching this either now and again later, check his channel out. He just passed 1,000 subscribers. I think he's already up to about 1,100.
Excellent.
You know, this is the type of community I have, Bill. And this is why we're talking today, because you've grown to 10x of what me and most of the folks that I interact with on a normal basis has. You've been there and you've done that. So it's great. Anybody have any questions for Bill while we're on? We're going to talk for probably 15 or 20 more minutes. And while you're thinking of those, I will tell you what I'm trying on Instagram and Facebook, and we'll kind of go to another topic after that. But instead of posting direct links, I'm posting images with the channel URL. So anybody that has over 100 subscribers can get a custom URL, and you should. It shouldn't be a series of letters and numbers. I don't know if it's driving traffic or not, but I've noticed my external views have gone from anywhere from 5 to 20% on any given video to almost none. The ones that are external now are Google search and some DuckDuckGo, which I have no idea what that is. But we'll see. I mean, I love the communities that I am in on Facebook, especially Real Men Wear Kilts. I'm going to do an interview with Raymond, the founder of that. That's a huge kilting community. And then there's some others as well. But I got to get them out of Facebook and back into YouTube. And you've been telling me to do that for a long time. Like I said earlier, I'm stubborn.
Well, you know, the thing is, we did a lot of stuff on Facebook. I mean, we posted videos. I mean, that was a part of the process. I posted on 7 different pages at one point, the year before last, 7 different pages. And it may have helped me, but I can see where it probably hurt me more than helped me, in the sense it makes your subscribers, it makes it look like you don't have a lot of returning subscribers. And I didn't like that. So we stopped doing that, and that count actually came up. So, I mean, that's one of the reasons why we stopped doing it, is it isn't helping us. And if it's not helping me, then it takes time and effort, and it kind of hurts your Facebook crowd. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we post family stuff to Facebook, or if we have a separate dedicated page, we can use it for something else. Or eventually, if we wanted to, we can make different content for Facebook. I'm not interested in that right now, but I may be down the road.
Joseph is asking, so Bill, are you saying that we shouldn't post on Facebook? And
I'm not saying that at all. Here's what I'm saying. I'm saying that and it's a great question. What I'm saying is what Toby said at the beginning of the segment, there has to come a point when your viewers are coming from the recommended page and they're returning subscribers. And you don't want to fall into the trap of always relying on people from Facebook to sign into their YouTube account to make a comment. Remember, commenting on a YouTube page is critical for your channel. It's critical. And if they're not signed in, let's say they're watching your video on Facebook, they can't comment or hit the like button or hit the subscribe button unless they are logged in. One of our mutual friends, Toby, she's a senior, but she's wonderful, very, very, very friendly, sweet lady. One of my first subscribers to my channel. I remember when I started posting on Facebook, I'd say, always remember to like and subscribe. And she would always message me, like send me a text and go, I can't. I'm watching on Facebook and it won't let me. And I said, sweetheart, you got to click the 3
dots. You got to do this. You got to do that.
So you want, no, you're fine. You want to grow your channel through YouTube as best as you can. And I love Toby's idea of coming up with a thumbnail to post on Facebook with the URL. I love that idea. That's something I'm going to look into. It's a pretty good idea.
Welcome, Denmark, event Soren Denmark, to the channel, to the chat today. Again, hit that thumbs up, like if you haven't already. If you're coming in late, this will be on later, so you can go back and watch any pieces that we missed. All right, Bill, time for some soul revealing talk.
Okay.
You and I were texting this morning because I'm a little bit hyper-focused on numbers of subscribers, number of viewers, some of those early analytics. And you tell me in the most lovingly way you can, stop it.
Yeah.
Help us.
Make good content. I know thumbnails are important. If you don't know that, listen, if you don't think about things like thumbnails, if you don't think about titles and catchy this and catchy that, you've not been watching YouTube. If you've been watching YouTube for the past 10 years, you already know that. TubeBuddy and all these other great tools that help you come up with stuff like that or think about stuff like that, they're good. So don't misunderstand me. Thumbnails are important, but your content is that's what's going to grow your channel. And your subscriber count will increase as you make better content. I know everybody wants their content out there, but when you're making good content, all it takes is for somebody to bump into your content one time, and then they share your content or they get into it, get really involved, and then all of a sudden it starts growing from there. We really hit off of 2 different videos. as far as where we're at. And I'm not saying we've arrived by any stretch of the imagination. We're anywhere close to where I want to be. But the reality of it is that you have to make good content. The cream rises to the top. So you can have, and I think we're in a great transition. And this is something I was going to share earlier, Toby, but I think we're in a transition when it comes to thumbnails and titles anyway, because I think as YouTube, the YouTube audience is maturing now. You know, the people who made YouTube what it is, they're maturing. We're not as quick to click on a video just because of the title anymore. We also will look down at, okay, who's putting this out? And I won't say their names. I would on my channel, but I'm not going to on Toby. But there are big name YouTube companies that make a living off of thumbnails, and they make a living off of content, or excuse me, make a living off of catchy titles. But all you have to do is get suckered about 3 times to where it's almost like you don't even want them on your recommended page, because you realize that the video isn't exactly what's advertised. So thumbnails are important, yes, but your subscriber count is going to increase as you're consistent and as you make good content. That's what's going to cause your subscriber count to go up. I was emailing a very large YouTuber today that I exchange emails with upon occasion to ask advice and recommendation. A lot bigger, way bigger than I am, but they're one of the greatest, in my opinion, one of the greatest content creators. This person wasn't obsessed with any of the SEO stuff. They weren't obsessed with any of those things. They got up to 1 million subscribers by being a filmmaker and making good stuff.
Wow.
And so to me, instead of focusing on your subscriber count, until you are at, I don't know, 2,000 or 3,000 subscribers, it really doesn't even matter, because just the way the business side of YouTube works. In the meantime, you can be doing everything that you can to make better videos, to make sure your sound's okay. I mean, my goodness, you talking about cringe earlier? You were talking about cringe. I go back to my first 2 years and even last year, and I just want to put my head in a hole and go, I can't believe I actually released that and thought people would watch it. And yes, people did, and I'm thankful for that. But at the same time, I'm glad that I've improved. I mean, the audio mix is bad. The colors are bad. I could go on and on. But what happens is that over time, your subscriber count increases and increases based on people coming back because they say, you know what? I liked the last video. I want to watch it again. I want to watch something different that this content creator has made. And so that's exactly what I would do, is focus on getting better. Is I would not stare at those numbers, because you just don't have enough. Toby, to be honest with you, you just don't have enough information there to get enough statistics from right now. I mean, you're the expert in statistics. You are the expert. And so, you know, it's garbage in, garbage out, right?
It just hurts when you lose several subscribers in a day, and then you gain some the next day and you feel like you're on top of the world. But yeah, that's good advice. And Bill, you've mentioned the production value, especially sound. That's something you've told me, hey, your sound in that video wasn't good. So I will let you know, I did some voiceovers for one that's coming up, and actually ended up doing it 3 different times because of what you said. So I'm really trying to focus on that. Let's see. We got some questions here. KDM Outdoors. I think he's talking about relating to comments. He tries to reply with a question when they comment on his videos. So I guess to keep the conversation going. I don't know if replies and additional comments underneath the same thread count as fresh new comments or not, but it's certainly a good idea.
I think YouTube put a stop to that a year or so ago, I think, but don't quote me on that. Used to, that was a great way to get somebody to come back. It really was. And if you would take the time to go back, you would watch your view counts go up. Okay. Because if you respond, let's say you have a video hitting 1,000 plus views and you got a lot of comments in there and you respond to everyone, then they go back and click the button. But I think now with the window pane or whatever that comes up on the right side to give you short answers, I think that's kind of eradicated that. But I think it's still good for community building. I think community building is what this platform is all about. Yeah. And when you go back and add your personal touch and don't use canned answers, even though that's okay too, sometimes we all get busy and I understand that, but making something personal and answering questions specifically, which we do. If you have the time to do that and it doesn't interfere with your mental health too much because it's exhausting. If you can do that, I think it's always great. I think in the long run, you're going to gain subscribers and you're going to gain a great community, which is what it's all about.
Nikki from Too Fat, Too Furious, and she is on. He's 50 Shades of Green. They've got 2 channels. She says, haha, I can't watch our first 2 videos.
I hear you.
None of us can, Nikki. That just shows that we're improving, though, right?
Yeah.
We should be getting better. Yeah, some of that early stuff, it's not yours. I don't know about how bad it was, but my
It's
early stuff
bad.
was pretty rough.
This way, your stuff from your first, this first year is so much better than my stuff my first year. But I'm like, Toby, you're awesome. Like you are walking on water, because my stuff is so cringe. But it's like you said, everybody's their worst critic. What I love about the chat that you're doing right now is a lot of these guys are content creators, and you guys are forming a bond. And from the direction YouTube is going now, it's all about these interactions like this. They are pushing these type of interactions big time. And so I think it's healthy to have several of these groups to where you're interacting. Sometimes you're the person doing the interview, and sometimes you're the person answering the questions. But to get this information out as best as possible, because I think YouTube is recognizing that there are communities on how to create YouTube videos. And so that's a whole other way to get people to the platform. So I think it's great. This is awesome.
All right, so G is on the 50 Shades of Green. That's kind of like his version of Your Breathe. They do a lot of Irish scenery on that one, and their other channels more focused on their weight loss journey. I don't know if our videos are too general. We have a wide range of different videos, and most people advise to niche down. Or is it niche down? I think it's niche down. Although we enjoy what we're doing, definitely important to enjoy what you're doing. But Bill, how far down should you niche?
I don't have you're looking at what I call the attention deficit disorder YouTube creator, okay, or content creator. I have the hardest. It's a weakness of mine, of not wanting to be pinned down to a topic. It's very difficult. But that being said, I can't answer that question. I don't have confidence in my answer on that. I hate to say that because I've sounded so knowledgeable on all this other stuff, but here I'm like going,
we said from the beginning, this isn't our space, but you've been somewhere that me and the other content creators on this chat, and hopefully the ones watching later, want to go. Sure. So I want to hear from somebody who's got 11,000 subscribers and not 1 million like vidIQ just hit.
Sure. I think by the way. Well, I think every one of you guys are going to be where I'm at in less time than it took me to get there. And because having seen a lot of your channels and just think they're awesome. And then also, Toby, watching you grow and watching you apply a work ethic that you have to this is amazing, because it's work. It is work. So, the question is, how far do you go? I think the farther you go, I want you to think about this for a minute. A few years ago, my oldest daughter, Anna, it was around Christmas time. She was in college, and she comes back home. And Carolyn, you probably remember this. She comes back home and she says, "You got to watch these videos, Dad. You need to do something like this on your channel." And immediately I'm like, I'll take any help. So I'm like, all right, show me. And it's these people cutting soap. They're cutting soap. And they've got millions and millions of views. So you ask me, how niche do you want to go? Does it get any more niche than how to cut soap? I mean, that's some niche stuff, and that's all this channel does, and they're amazing, and they have millions of views, millions of subscribers, and I say, good job. So I don't know the answer to that. I think that's a personal, but man, whatever you do, I think the more interesting it is, I think the better.
Nikki is very sweet. She said, LOL, Toby, I haven't seen a bad video of yours yet.
I haven't either.
Back to the very beginning. That is very kind. And also, they just hit 1,000 very recently. I think they shared on the last live stream they did a Harry Potter quiz, which I didn't do as well as I thought I would at, but they're up to 3,400 watch hours. So they're right on the brink of monetization. So they're going far. They relate to their viewers better than almost anybody's channel that I've seen. We've got some amazing channels on here. Let's see. Cowboy Joseph. I agree with Bill. My content is about adventures. It is. Why stick to one niche? That's why I called myself the Kilted Adventurer versus the Kilted Hiker. So
right
there. Good luck with the soap cutters. Is it like soap on a rope? I'm so confused.
You need to watch it, because for me, it was good for like 20 minutes, which is a long time, but different videos of them cutting soap, and I can't explain it. But I got to tell a story about you, because it goes along with what Cowboy Joe was talking about. Cowboy Jojo was talking about.
Joseph.
I love what he had to say there about niches. I knew Toby could be a great YouTuber before Toby, I think, knew he would be a great YouTuber, and he was still making fun of me over it. But we were there in West Virginia on a hike. What's that?
Seneca Rocks,
and having a great time hiking. He's in his kilt, and I'm filming a video It's about Toby. I mean, it was my video. He wasn't even doing videos. He was doing it for his other endeavor, his other journey, but it wasn't like he does now. And as we were walking up this huge trail, beautiful rocks and everything, we got stopped every so many minutes from people asking about his kilt. And I mean, just men, women, boys and girls, cows, dogs, mice, deer, whatever. Seriously, a deer almost ran him over. It was hilarious. Everybody was asking about his kilt. And I'm like, my goodness, you've got product right here. You've got a story to tell, because this is a thing. This is happening right now. And I think it's going to stick. And so I'm great. It's awesome to see him have a channel, because I think there's plenty of room on the platform for his channel. So it is niche, but you can do anything in a kilt. So it's like niche with opportunity. And so that's it's not too broad. I think my channel is probably too broad sometimes, but Toby's, it's niche. It's kilted. That's what it's all about. But at the same time, it's big enough to where he can do something in downtown New York and call it a Kilted Adventure in New York and be just fine. Of course, there's certain places I wouldn't wear a kilt in New York. I'm just saying.
I wore one in West Virginia, and that was kind of whatever.
Hey, it worked. It worked.
Joseph also wears a kilt sometimes on Cowboy Jojo. Nikki says that leaving true and sincere comments on other people's videos helps. That's true. Actually, Nikki and G found me from a comment on somebody else's video. I distinctly remember that, because she said, "Hey, I love your handle. I want to check out your channel." So that stuck in my mind. And they do have a weight loss channel, but they watch a lot of travel and adventures. And Cowboy Joseph says, "Yes, I do sometimes wear a kilt." Bill, we have 4 minutes left. I want to be very respectful of your time. Thank you so much for joining. For those of us who are content creators watching this either in the live chat or later, any final words of wisdom on how to grow a YouTube channel in 2022?
In 2022, keep making videos and make them interesting. If you're not finding what you're doing interesting, it's not interesting. Keep making videos. Keep uploading videos. Don't worry about YouTube gossip and rumors and changes. Just keep making videos. Keep having fun. Keep telling stories. And I think at the end of the day, you'll have fun whether or not the video does anything. You'll still feel a sense of satisfaction. So I'd say just keep making videos.
Take it from somebody who's been there. Can't go somewhere that somebody hasn't been before. So thanks a lot, Bill. Thank you for your family for letting you have the time. Also, I know you've got a house full of company today. He has Vlogmas every night at 9-ish. So check that out. It's actually a lot of fun. It's very interactive like this. So if anybody's awake, I know we got different time zones going on. G and Nikki, go to bed. You don't need to be up at 2 or 3 in the morning. But Joseph and everyone else, check that out tonight. We got some thanks, and I totally agree. Advice is good. Appreciate everybody else. And that's the end of this today, Bill. Thanks a lot. And
thanks for having me, Toby.
Tonight at Bill Marion's YouTube channel. I'll go back and put the links after we're done.
Thanks for having me, Toby.
See you, Bill.